Yeah, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Ryan is out today, but we got Kenneth Clark in the building.
Yeah.
What's up?
Tell them real quick how they can find you.
Hey, man, you guys can find me at all things Kenneth Clark, so Kennis Clark on IG, TikTok, everywhere. Just go ahead and put the name in.
All right, so it's been a very eventful week, I'll say, since our last show. But yeah, so it's gonna be really cool. We got a lot of cool topics. Jeremiah, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. I'm ready for me and my wife's vacation next week.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a good reminder. We won't be here next week. We're taking a break for Labor Day. So you want to do a rewind for next
I don't know
week?
if I have time to do
Yeah,
it.
that's true. When you leaving?
Sunday.
Sunday, okay.
Yeah.
So what we may do, we had a event here last night with Childlike Cece.
Yeah.
So we interviewed her, so we may play that during the live show time.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the full 2 hours, but something
Yeah.
for y'all to see. But yeah, it was a really cool event. We had a big turnout. There were a lot of people over in the other studio room listening to her new music, and really cool people from Reach were here.
Yeah.
Aaron Knight put it together. She made a big announcement that you'll hear, I guess, next week.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. All right, I think we're ready. One more thing. Go to patreon.com/Trackstarz Universe. We just did a pre-show, which was really cool. I've been doing these, I did one so far, reacting to comments as shorts, and it seemed like it did really well. People liked it. So we did another one with Jeremiah this morning, and our Patreon audience got to watch him put it together.
Yeah.
If you're on Patreon and you haven't seen it, you can watch after the show as a bonus. And then we also had a really interesting conversation about Lauryn Hill. So you definitely want to go check that out. So patreon.com/Trackstarz Universe. Go check that out after the show. All right. Let's get into it. We got some really, really interesting clips here, guys. Let's do this. All right. So, our girl Tiffany Montgomery.
Yeah, we gotta get on the show, man. We talk about her like a lot.
Yeah, we need to get her up
reach
here. But Tiffany Montgomery, she's been saying a lot about Democrats and about Kamala Harris. She called her a witch. So she, DNC was this past week. So let's hear what she had to say about
fully
that.
persuaded that this generation absolutely hates children and hates babies. I've come to this conclusion for several reasons, but one is because of how many people are molested, raped, and unfortunately have experienced incest. And when the child develops the courage to finally tell an adult, unfortunately, the adult normally forces them to sweep it under the rug because the monster ends up being somebody that the adult loves, or they're beat and they're literally forced into silence, which follows them, unfortunately, until they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years old. Also, some of you were your children's first bullies, and unfortunately, some of you have experienced being bullied by the first bully in your life, which was your mother and father. And I'm just of the thought that people just absolutely hate children. I believe that we're living in the days of King Herod. And those of you that don't know what King Herod is or who King Herod is, he was literally the king in the Bible. You can read more about it in Matthew chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, that tried to kill Jesus when he found out that Jesus was alive and well. And King Herod did not know where Jesus was. And so he decided to put together a law that killed all babies under the age of 2 years old. That let me know that the enemy is not omnipresent, all-knowing, omniscient, only God is. So he knew that there was a deliverer that was getting ready to be born, but he didn't know where, so he developed a plan to kill all babies under the age of 2. And here we are at the DNC having Planned Parenthood, who has told you time and time again that their number one goal was to exterminate a race. And they have planted mobile demonic altars to give free abortions to anybody who wants them, as if the DNC is the appropriate place to kill a baby. Let me tell you why it's an appropriate place for them. It's because they need more blood to sacrifice to their demonic god called Moloch. Anybody that needs to get into a high-level position has to shed blood if they are not a believer, because believers, the blood was already shed for us on Calvary. With that being said, demonic blood has to be shed, and baby blood is some of the most potent blood that you can shed. This is why Planned Parenthood has put together a plan to kill babies during this time. They are literally sacrificing the blood of babies. I am telling you now, and I am telling you as loudly as I can, that this is going to render more judgment on this nation. I know many of you don't like when I say it, and you don't like to hear it, but I don't care. You're going to thank God one day that he sent somebody with enough courage to tell you the truth. It's only the truth that sets people free.
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think about what Tiffany said?
Man, I mean, she's spitting that ism. I mean, I think people do need to research Molich, like what that represents and why it was, which was interesting, why music was playing, why they were sacrificing kids and turn up the music so you can't hear the babies cry and die and stuff like that back in the day. I do think this new generation of Christians are like gung ho about abortion, like really like y'all are sacrificing babies, like y'all are doing this, blah blah blah. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are getting on board with. You know what I mean? So she called the stuff out, man. She called it out, and I think I don't think every Democrat is wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a party guy. I vote certain ways sometimes, but I'm not like, you know, if Democrats are evil, because I think conservatives are evil too. You know what I mean? Like I think I think if one side is like blatantly evil, and then the other side is like trying to act like they're not evil, but like it's almost like a false Christian. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like acting like, yo, I'm saved, but like you look at their lives and there's no fruit. So I just feel like what she was saying is the truth, though. What she was saying about Molich, what she was saying about the DNC did have Planned Parenthood, even if Planned Parenthood did, maybe they were just out there. I don't know if the DNC was like, yeah, be out here so we can get those babies. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I do think it's a big coincidence. I know they didn't stop it.
Yeah, the pushback was the DNC had nothing to do with it, but I mean, it's not. It's they feel comfortable there, right? Like, yeah. That's the environment where why would they push back on it? That's kind of what they're in support of, right? Yeah. So she kind of loses me with the Moloch stuff. Like I'm the one on the show that's always like
skeptical.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that people are just outright just on purpose worshiping Satan. I think the way it works is more devious than that, where you think you're doing the right thing, but you're really in service of Satan. I think that's more common than people actually literally worshiping Satan.
You don't think there's people that just like?
I think there are. Yeah. I think most people are deceived. I don't think most people are intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it could be some people. I mean, I remember when Hillary lost was because them videos came out of her spirit cooking, and people were like, "Oh no!"
They had videos of Hillary Clinton.
They had pictures of her.
Cooking. You gotta. Yeah. Why don't you bring this up in the meetings? What are you talking?
Because we don't be talking about that in the meetings.
You need to bring it up. You got pictures.
I don't Hillary Clinton, but it was a picture of her, like, because I think they don't think of I think sometimes people think cleansing of different other religions. Yeah. You could do that, and they don't understand the spiritual realm of being a part of.
I consider if y'all know what spirit cooking is. Okay, it's gross. Okay, let's just say it like that. If somebody's doing that, to me that is obviously intentional demonic. Yeah, right. That's not what I'm talking about. I think most people are deceived into doing things that support Satan, meaning they think they're doing a good thing, but they're not.
You don't think people feel like if somebody come to you and be like, man, if you want to take Trackstarz to another level, you got to do X, Y, Z, and you be like, for real? Like,
yeah, to me, that's such an obvious no. Yeah. That I think most people who are deceived into it are like, you know how you could take Trackstarz to the next level? Support the DNC's promotion of abortion and support the LGBT. That's the way to really serve Satan without knowing that you're doing it.
What? You're our guest, bro. What's up?
That's the full on scheme by the enemy, right? We know that, there's confusion, there's deception, there's lies. That's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden. Mm-hmm. Like he just deceived Eve in such a way that led to sin being something we all got to deal with now. So like when we hear things about, them wanting to do all of these abortions, or we hear all this crazy stuff that, would happen in biblical times.
Yeah.
Like throughout history, there were kids that were sacrificed.
Yeah.
The world is just a fallen world, and as these things do come to the surface, even for me, it doesn't feel like it's new news. It's like, this is where we're at. This is what we're dealing with because of the main scheme of the enemy and the demonic presence.
Yeah.
Over even, over regions, principalities, all types of things. It is wild. Is really crazy.
Yeah.
But when you said deception, that's where it's at, because you could think you'd be doing something good.
Yeah.
Like think about, and I'll bring this up, and maybe you guys can add to this, because I've always had this idea or thought process. If a woman's raped and she gets pregnant,
mm-hmm.
what do you guys think about that?
That's what Trump believes. Like he has.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everybody knows, but Trump is I think all cases except for incest, rape, and harm to the mother. I think.
Yeah.
So it's not a abortion.
I thought he said did he change from just let the states provide? Like let the state
because
decide?
Okay, so he at first he took credit for the Roe v. Wade going down, but then it looked. All the candidates started getting voted out.
Yeah.
So there was a young lady who asked a question and said, "Hey, what's your stance on abortion?" So I'm paraphrasing. He was basically like, "We got to be careful because this is killing us." Basically, is what he's saying. We need to soften our stance a little bit. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing. I know your Trump people are going to kill me, but that's essentially what he's saying, is that he's kind of toning down the rhetoric, and the talking point now is let the states decide, because it's kind of deflecting away from what he's actually saying is he's cool with it for these reasons.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's what I was in the meetings. I was at all the rallies when we were fighting for to kill Roe v. Wade. I don't think that's what we were asking for. Mm-hmm. It was don't kill no babies, right? So I feel like there's some compromises being made.
Do you feel like if a young lady did get raped, what do you feel about that?
I feel like you might want to kill the guy, but it's just hard. It's hard to say the answer is to kill the kid. That's just hard for me. I mean, it's a bad situation.
It is a very bad situation. I think people, and I think the reason why for some people, even conservatives, that sounds like abortion sounds like a great idea for that cause of rape, incest, or whatever. Well, mostly rape, is because the trauma it will bring to the woman if she feels like, I have to see this little baby
it's terrible.
kid. It's like a reminder of rape all over again.
Yeah, he should be destroyed with fire. Yeah, which will happen unless he repents.
Yeah, right? But to me, I would say if that was the case for her, maybe put the baby up for adoption.
It's just a bad. It's hard to I would say. Hopefully your pastor loves Jesus and he could walk you through that, because I don't wish that on anybody. This is where politics breaks down for me a little bit, which is why I try to stay out of it as much as possible, because I don't have the gift to figure out policy decisions on things like that. There's some things that a general in a war, a president, these positions have to decide that I'm like, bro, I don't know how you handle that.
We think
somebody has to be called to that position.
Yeah, somebody like as a president, y'all in the war room and y'all like, okay, we got to kill this dude. We're gonna kill this dude. We don't know if he in the house. We got intel he in the house.
Could be some other kids in there.
Yeah. And you got
if we don't get him now, he gonna kill millions of people. What do you do?
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah,
it's not my gift.
But I will go back and say, and to me, sometimes I feel like people, you ask the honest question, but I feel like sometimes people use that for abortion, when the actuality is, I just want to do my thing.
Yeah, they use the edge cases as a way to prove it.
Where percentage wise, it's the lowest on the reason why people get abortion.
But back to my original question. I think this is where the rub between me and a lot of people, because I'm the one, I was on the picket lines. I was fighting for this stuff, right? But where y'all lose me, I think, is picking this guy to be the one to push for it. It's not worth it to me. You know what I mean? But especially because he don't even believe it, Yeah. But my question is I think a lot of people are trying to make the ops evil.
Yeah.
They're trying to vilify them. When I think most people genuinely feel like they're trying to do the right thing by protecting women and love is love and all these things. I just think they're wrong. I don't think they're evil. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you mean.
I think a lot of people are trying to paint the people on the opposite side,
Well,
liberals as evil people instead of deceived people. And I think there's a distinction.
I think the difference is it's a difference between one person going like using all those like on the left, like, so if you watching, like, if you on YouTube, or if you seen reels, or if you on IG, you may see somebody go, I'm gonna tell y'all my testimony. I had an abortion. I just felt I don't know what to do next. But then you may have another video when a girl be like, I had an abortion. I can't wait to have any more. I can't have more. I want more. And it's like, that's evil. Like you know what I'm saying?
That is evil.
So I think the difference is your approach, and I think the media and even conservative media is very good at showing the bad side of when people are bragging about their sin and go, that's evil, and not looking at that person needs grace and that person needs Jesus, or that person could be, back to her original thing, demonic. They could be, a demon could be activated in their life.
I want to say that I don't even know if Tiffany is saying that each individual person that votes for Democrats is evil. I think she's trying to say that the people in power are evil. That we could have a good talk about, because I do think that's true. But again, this is where I lose people in this argument is, again, I think you can be deceived, you can be evil, and then you could know who Satan is and actively worship Satan. I think that's like the extreme of what's going on.
Well, what if it's
I don't think that's the norm of what's going on.
What if that's the transition?
It could be. I mean, it is the
I was going to say that kind of sounds like
that
the
is
roadmap.
the goal of the roadmap. Yeah,
that.
but I just think most people are probably in the middle of that roadmap.
Yeah,
that they don't think they're worshiping Satan. They don't think they're evil. They think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
they're just deceived into doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I think those people should be talked about with a little more grace than I hear right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like how you did. I like how you're putting that together, because you're not making it just black and white. You're like, there's another section of people where it is great for them. You know what I mean? And I think that, a lot of times us as believers, we get a lot of slack is because sometimes we don't always approach it with that grace. We see it as, oh, you're far left, you're evil because you're not following these things to the degree that we're following them, even though we fall every day in the same things that we try to expect other people to understand. So yeah, I like that stance on, being more graceful for those types of people, because that's how you reach them. That's how you can create the connections to actually pour in the good that they might need to hear.
Yeah, and I think the fastest way to make that connection is to not pretend that the side you're on is righteous.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
at least acknowledge what's going on with your side. Like that's the only thing I'm like, if you end up voting for Trump, I get it, like 100%. Like actively voting for some of the things we're talking about right now feels icky. It feels gross. Yeah. And I understand why people are like, I can't do that. I'll rather vote for the gross person than the gross policy. Yeah. I get it. But at least acknowledge that the man you're voting for is one of the weirdest dudes I've ever seen in my life. Can we at least just say that? Hey, there's a weird dude. He does some weird stuff. I get it.
Yeah,
I just can't vote for them. Right. Just at least admit it.
I think every person I've come across that I know of that is very conservative, I feel like they're like, yeah, he got some problems, but those policies. That's what I've heard
cool
recently.
With that. I'm cool.
You know
with
what
that.
I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I think
don't try to sell me like this is some cool dude that like I'm wrong about him. No, I'm not. It's weird.
He's actually nice on the inside.
I'm sure. And here's the thing.
Guy.
And when even him, I don't think he's an evil person.
Yeah.
I've never said he was an evil person like that. I think he's super weird. I think selfish, very selfish.
Yeah.
But if he was sitting here, I would say, bro, do you understand? Like, you have the ability to be an awesome president if you repent. It's the only thing that I'm missing. I'm not
repent from what, Sean?
His sin.
What sin?
Everybody has sin. He said, I've never repented for anything in my life.
Oh,
That's
okay. Oh, yeah, that's
weird.
something different. That's something totally
So
different.
you can't
That has
pretend
nothing
you're
to do with president to
some
me.
Christian champion, and when people ask you about the Bible and about God, I don't have anything to repent for.
So you have your stance against Trump is the stuff he's saying about his walk as a Christian, right? That's what you just said.
I just think that to pretend that whenever I hear this come up, is there's no proof that he did this, and it's like, come on, guys, proof. I understand you believe that people are attacking him and making up stuff about him, but even without that, there's things that I've seen him say out of his face that are sinful. At least acknowledge those things, right? He needs to repent for those things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you saying, he said he's never repented for anything.
He said that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. Like that's crazy. I mean, but I think for the conservative Christian, it's like you said, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not looking at him as no. Like and this is what they'll probably say. I'm not looking at him as my pastor. I'm not looking at him as my church. Like he's not. He's a man just like everybody else is a man. But at the same time, if I had to choose between him or Kamala, and based off how things have been going in my life and in the country, I'm gonna go his direction.
I understand if that's your view of him, why you would vote for him. That's not my view of him. I think he's intentionally a charlatan. I think he is lying to your face.
Well, he did say, all right, look, man, he did say, I've never repented for anything in my life, right? That's the awareness that there's
that's
forgiveness
crazy.
out there, and you're denying it. And as a Christian, what does that look like, right? Like, we're believers here, so imagine saying, I'm not asking God for forgiveness for nothing that I did. I don't care.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I never heard he said that until you just said that just now. You just mentioned that statement. Yeah. So that's where it gets a little iffy, because now people who are like Christians, believers, who even want to give him grace and say, he's taking his time. Now you're like, is it direct worship, or is it direct and when I mean worship, is it direct worship of something else? I don't know.
I know somebody on the comments gonna be like, but Kamala, what about her? What about her stuff?
I don't care nothing about Kamala Harris. I think that's the confusion, is that everybody feels like, in order to, if I say this about him, that means I must be doing it for them. I don't. The whole beginning of this conversation was all the evil things that are on the Democrats side.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the pressure to pick another evil person because I don't like this evil person. I don't feel that.
Well, unfortunately, we've been hearing that for years. Like, pick the lesser of two evils, and
lesser evil. I mean, ultimately, it really, I think it really boils down to what is going to help you and your family thrive.
Facts. I think that's what it is.
Choosing policies based on that. And if you are trying to thrive in a way that honors God or honors just a better way of living for you and your family, then you're going to pick the things that will help bring that. And that's Republican, Democrat, independent.
I would even say this. I get when people say, well, what about policies? What about policies? I personally, hate me if you want to, I don't care about those things. I don't care about what would ultimately benefit my family the most. I care about what will ultimately benefit other people's families the most, the people who need it the most.
But I mean, if that's based off that, then why wouldn't you care if
I care? But again, like, what I hear from people is vote your interest, vote what makes. I don't care about that. What I care, the only thing I listen for is, does this help the most people who need it the most or not? That's what matters to me.
I would hop in.
That's what would
this.
sway me, not whether I get more money in my personal bank account.
There are some people, so I think it ties back into that deception too, because there are some people that think they might be doing good for another person, but they might not be doing good.
Right.
So think about that. I think it's two track to each, right? You can have those people that are like, I want to just take care of my family only, and your family wild and crazy. I got some crazy ideas about how life should be. Then he's in trouble. But you also have that family that's like, yo, I just want to honor God, and it's starting in the home. So everything he wants to do, like, is going to branch out eventually. And if you have families, like generations of families thinking like that, then you have generations of change, right? But then that's that other side where it's like, hey, I wanna think about what other families might like, and then what if you have a total different idea of what other families really need?
Yeah.
And then now you're pushing and creating something that doesn't work for those people.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
real. That's real.
I think it's, again, I always go back to this, is like all the confusion and deception, it just floats over everything we try to do.
I'll say this has been something that's really hurt my heart for years and years and years. When I first realized that, because again, I grew up in a Republican kind of house, right? Like my dad, my church, everybody was Republican, right? So it hurt my heart when I realized that I had Christian friends that didn't agree with that decision to be on the Republican side. And it took me a while to realize, like, there are actual brothers and sisters that are split on this issue. Christians aren't all on the same side.
Oh, yeah.
I think what is trying to be preached is that Christians are all on the same side. And if you aren't on this side, then you're not a Christian. That's not true.
What president you think broke that up?
What you mean?
Like what president you think? I'm gonna say it, and people get mad, but I think Obama broke that up.
He was in my head. I was thinking.
I think that
like, broke what up?
Broke up the, like, those back in the days where it was like, you know, this person, like, if you conservative, you're Christian, and if you're liberal, you may not be Christian. But it wasn't like even for the black church, wasn't like we're policies. The black church was like, we going by policies because of that. But I feel like for black Christians that are like that word, like you said, grew up Republican, conservative, and all that. I feel like President Obama was like the first time you seen him, it was like, dang, man, this is a hard choice to make, because I seen this brother in church. He go to a church in Chicago. I seen his brother go in church and sing Amazing Grace. I seen, you know what I mean? And it's like,
but I think most black Christians are Democrats.
Yeah. I
don't think they came from my background. I think most black Christians came the other direction.
Yeah.
That they grew up in a Democratic house, and now they're voting for Trump for the first time coming across the line. So what I'm saying is realizing that there's a whole huge portion of my family that I really believe are saved, true believers in Jesus. That really see it totally differently.
Yeah.
It just hurt my heart that we are so divided on this issue, because there are a couple things that are right over here.
Yeah.
There's a couple things right over here. You think the things you're right about are more important than the things they're right about, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But they both have evil things on their side, to me, that are obviously evil. You may not see it that way. That, to me, are ignored because you think your positive points are more important. That's what I'm upset about, because as brothers and sisters, I wish we could work those things out and come to a consensus, but it just seems impossible.
But I think both sides are throwing dirt on if you decide who you vote for. It's not like I remember the first time. I think the first time, like I remember the first time with Trump and Hillary. I remember people saying like, "Yo, you crazy if you vote for Trump. You crazy." You know what I mean? And I feel like we just never looked at other people's, or we never took account to other things. And I think right now in our culture, and I feel like in our culture we're seeing a revival happen with people coming to Christ. Yeah. And but they're coming to Christ, and their background may be New Age, their background may be coming out of the occult. So they know stuff. So now when somebody like Tiffany comes along and says, you know, these people are sacrificed, they like, she's telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, I think what TJ said is key. He said most black people are conservative even though they are Dems.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Is that even though you may have grown up in a Democratic family, you were conservative whether you knew it or not, because you agreed with Republicans on gay rights and abortion.
Yeah.
What's happening now, I think, which is a little strange, is that people are starting to make compromises.
Yeah.
So you see pastors, and you see political leaders, and you see Obama, and you see people like that who traditionally would have been conservative Democrats are now compromising to appeal to this big group of people.
Well,
so they're starting to accept things that they never would have accepted, and that's what people are starting to see. Oh, this is evil.
Yeah.
They're compromising. They're serving Satan because even though they used to be Democrats, they used to agree with us on this. That's the problem.
And I think this is just me. I do think, and anybody going far left, far right is crazy too. It's like racism. It's like tiki torch parties. But on a far left is crazy too. Like
super crazy.
And I think the problem was Obama, Biden was like, y'all, we can't go that far. We can't go to AOC route.
People used to hug the center.
Yeah.
Whether you were Democrat or Republic, everybody ran to the center. They tried to hug the center pole. Now people are running to the edges.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Both sides are running to the edges, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Clinton kind of brought in that mentality of this is starting to get weird. Starting to get a little weird. We're starting to go a little bit too far this way or that way. And then it just continued on.
Man, at the end of the day, put your faith in Jesus. Put your faith in God. Like true, like really, like regardless who gets in November. I can't wait till the day is over. I can't wait till I can't wait it's over.
I hate this, honestly. Yeah.
I can't wait till it's over. If you're a believer, if you're a blood-bought believer, please put your faith in Jesus Christ. And I would say this on the politics side, do vote locally. Your local elections matter.
That matters a lot.
That matters a little bit more because you see the effects of what happens when you vote mayors in, council people in, and your neighborhoods.
And to that point, I would recommend, this just works for me. I know this is a big debate or whatever. But I would try to get the absentee ballot if you can, because there's nothing like when I'm able to see my ballot, be like, who is so and so?
Yeah.
I can't do that at the booth.
poll,
I mean, I assume I don't know if it's
you can't
against
take
the rule.
no phone.
Okay, so then that's really bad because most people, I think they go in there and they see a D and an R and they just pick the D or the R. I don't do that. If I have a chance, I go and I say, what so and so believe? What they got on their Facebook? Oh, nah, I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like really study who the person is, because sometimes I don't know who these people are. And you just pick random, like Christmas tree. So if you can, like really figure out who you're actually voting for, and the local people matter way more. You can actually call that person and get them to answer the phone.
You can go to those meetings.
You ain't calling Trump unless you like really bend the knee. You got to bend the knee to get to Trump. So anyway, all right. So we found this clip. Did you find this, Jeremiah?
I don't know which clip we better go to.
Manifestation, Sexy Red.
Oh,
Lotto.
yeah. I saw that. It came across a timeline because I think they was talking to Rap Caviar, which was interesting because the actual video, they don't talk about none of that. They just took it off.
It's a Spotify sponsored video, but let's see what they say.
I did a song with Tyler, the Creator.
For real? That's hard.
I really wanted to work with him so bad. Like, every time I get in the interview, they say, who you want to do a song with? I'm like, Tyler, the Creator. Manifestation be real. Like, I just kept saying it, and then finally he called me and was like, I love your voice. I need your voice on this song I got.
Manifestation really is real. I believe in that. That's true. I spoke everything into existence. Facts.
Because I didn't talk to some, like, male rappers, like, when I was coming up, and they'll be like, everything you rap about, it'll come true.
It's like your reality catches up to your words.
Okay, manifestation. It's starting to be a trend. A lot of people. I mean, I remember Usher said it with the whole Super Bowl thing, and like a lot of people are talking about
how to visualize. He got to think
visualization. You hear a lot in sports. Manifestation, speaking things into existence. It's kind of borrowing from a biblical idea, but it's kind of being used kind of willy nilly. So what is your thoughts on manifestation?
It's I think it's an extreme thought of life and death in the power of the tongue, right? You can speak life. You can speak life or you can speak death. But I think you have to be really mindful of what you do say and put out there, right? Again, because the power is in the tongue. However, like there is a responsibility with that. You know what I mean? So it's like there's certain things you're just not going to say because you don't want that to start to create a reality for that. But it's not necessarily the belief in manifestation. It's the belief in believing or having faith for what God is saying. So if you are saying something that is speaking life, you are believing in declaring it and saying, okay, God, I'm trusting that this thing is going to happen. It's like showing a sign of faith. But you're not going to say, all right, God, like, I believe that I'm going to get this Lamborghini tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
You may say sick, like somebody may be sick, and you go, I believe God's going to heal them.
God is going to heal him based on what he already said and what he's already done, if that's
so,
your belief.
Yeah.
But I think because like you said, it is taken from a biblical text, and people are using it just frivolously. They're saying things that who knows if there's another God taking control of that.
Yeah.
Based on where your heart is of what you're saying.
Yeah. I think this is a common misunderstanding about God. I think people start to treat God like a jinn,
genie,
a genie, which is a demon. You're thinking you may be getting some power from God, but there's two teams out here, guys. Like there's God's team, and then there's another team that has power as well.
Yeah.
So you could speak something into existence, but who's answering your prayer? Who's fulfilling the manifestation? And I think some people, like especially celebrities, when they start seeing stuff accumulate in their life and they're winning, they think that God is doing this, or I'm doing this, and it's like somebody else is doing it for you to control you. It's a bribe. It's a way to grab you and use you for their service. So I wouldn't just assume, just because even common people like us, like just because Trackstarz is doing better than it used to, or just because I'm doing better on my job than I used to, or just because you got some car that doesn't absolutely mean God is giving you this because this is what he wants for you. It could be a temptation. It could be a distraction. It could be somebody else giving it to you. You have to really be careful about when you say that.
Yeah. What's my girl's name? It was a young lady. I think I put her in the chat when she was talking about this. She broke down the difference. Her name is Melissa. I forgot her last name, but she does apologetics. And she thought she was in New Age at first, but she realized it was called New Thought. And she's saying New Thought is manifestation, visualization, and, speaking into existence. That stuff is under New Thought. And that's like she said a lot of Christians are into it. And she was like, Oprah is into it. That's what I was sending. I think I sent it to y'all and send it to you. And she was like, the point of New Thought is to make you God. But it's a blind version of it. It's not like, how New Age is like, I am God. But in New Thought, it's more like I can, God is, God is inside you. He's, what I mean? It's not like you still using scripture. You still, you're still talking about stuff.
You're saying it's Melissa Doherty.
But it's,
Mark
and
526.
Yeah, she has a dope channel. And I think the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is because it's so many people want things in life. And it kind of goes back to the video we taped earlier, Sean, about, your success, your blessings, you know what I mean? And the focus becomes you-centered versus Jesus-centered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that people don't understand about manifestation and visualization and all this other stuff. It's about it's making you God.
I have a question for you then.
Yeah.
At the end, but I think it was it Bless that said it? Joseph King. You could be, what you may be seeing is just normal goal setting.
Yeah, that
results,
too.
Right?
That too.
When you focus your mind and you write down where you want to be and you take the steps to get each goal accomplished, you break the big goal down into smaller steps, there just may be a natural benefit, just a normal godly principle to writing stuff down and getting stuff
Habakkuk.
done. Putting one foot in front of the other towards a specific goal. That's just a natural principle, right? I think I think Lotto in specific in that video is like, you're not just like, I'm going to have a phone in my hand and boom, a phone appears. When you start to get to that level of like, I could just make things happen because I say it, that's what you're talking about. That's the I'm God, or I have some control over God.
Yeah.
Prayer is a conversation with God. He can manifest anything.
Yeah.
You're just saying, God, if it's your will for this thing to appear, if it's your will to freeze the sun in the middle of the air, if it's your will to bring fire down and light this dry sticks, like we've seen in the Bible, it's a request from the one who can manifest. It's not you doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. You're not gonna have a Lamborghini tomorrow.
And that's why it's always in your will.
Yeah.
I don't want God. I don't want anything if you don't want it to happen.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
real.
That should be the prayer.
That's
It's
real.
don't let it happen. Please
Yeah.
don't let it happen. If you see something
Yeah.
better for me, give me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people think like even going back to the goal setting, like God is a jealous God. Like he doesn't want no idols in your heart. And sometimes our goals can be idols.
Yeah.
Like I said in the video, like your success may be so you driven and God is not in it. But
All
you
right.
think he is because you're going to church.
So here's the Christian question for you.
Yeah.
Is it wrong to make a vision board?
If it ain't from Jesus, it's wrong.
We've done that.
I know.
Is it wrong to make a vision board?
I think it is. I think because it's your ambition. It's what you want. It's what I'm not saying it's. I think the difference is goals.
Yeah.
And I always heard vision and visualization kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. Vision is what you see in the future.
Yeah. But I would say about the vision board thing is, if God says, like, let's say Trackstarz is supposed to go to South by Southwest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But God is like, the church here goes, hey, y'all, we're going on a missions trip at this situation. Can you guys come? Because we really want men there to do it. And we're like in between, like, yo, spread the gospel or promote Trackstarz and spread the gospel. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? So I really think it depends on.
I'm gonna ask that to the audience. Is making vision boards wrong? Because it could be seen two ways. It could be you trying to do what these people are doing, manifesting things into existence. You put a Lamborghini on there, and you put like a private jet on there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is it just a visual representation of your prayer?
Yeah.
These
That's
are
true.
my requests to you, God. I'm putting it visually so I can remember what I said. Is it as simple as that, where it's an innocent thing that is just a visualization of your prayer?
Yeah.
Which one is it to you guys?
What's that phrase? Write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah, Habakkuk. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
It could be
they
that,
do
but
say
again, I want to know. Do you think? Because I've heard a lot recently where people believe it's a demonic practice for Christians to make vision boards. Is it or is it not? What do you guys think? All right, so our guy Jamal Bryant has a podcast, and I can't remember the lady's name, but they were talking about marriage and divorce and single women. I want you guys to listen to this and see what you.
And I just got to a place, Lord, I know you sent him. So whatever I need to do to protect our unity, I will.
30% of black divorces, 30% of all divorces are black people.
Yes.
16% are Latino. This is the largest amount of single black women post-slavery. And so here's the disconnect nobody's talking about. The largest demographic of those who are single are educated, high-achieving black women. And so I know you done found Chef Boyardee, but everybody else is at Cookout and Chick-fil-A drive-thru. I want you to say a word to black women who are single and did, here it is, everything the church told them to do. They went and got degrees. Mm-hmm. They are walking every day. They drinking water. They done pull pork it out of their diet. They saving. They go to midweek Bible study. It's still not happening.
All right, so our favorite pastor, Jamal Bryant. What do you think about what he said?
Not the Cookout Chick-fil-A drive-thru. Dang. Wow, that's a hot topic, man. I ain't gonna front, bro. I was praying about this morning. I think, I really think the black church has maybe hurt black women subconsciously.
Yikes.
I think that.
Elaborate.
I think that the focus, instead of the focus becoming, if your desire is to be single, then obey the scriptures where it talks about, my singleness is my gift and I live in it, and I would rather be single than married, right? But if a woman's desire is to be married, then why don't you help her prepare her for marriage. Same thing with a man. So for anybody like, what about the men? No, same thing for men. If you're a man and you want to be married, then I think the church should help you become a husband. Men should a husband should be like married men should show single men how to become husbands, and vice versa. I don't think when I look at the black church, sometimes I look at it from a standpoint of it looks like it looks like your season, your time. Get away from your haters. It doesn't help. It almost feeds the pride and ego of a woman. So now, if a man comes to her, that is a godly man. That's a man of substance, a man of things. She may not look at that. She may look at other stuff, and vice versa. Surfacey stuff, and vice versa. If it's a godly woman out there, and a man who is getting his ego and stuff fed, may look past her because she ain't got this, she ain't got that.
Nails,
So, but the reason why I said that about women is because there's more black women in the black church than men at times.
Well, that's where I was gonna go. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, just to add to that, I would say that I think the church, the issues with that in the church, is just like the tip of the iceberg. I feel like it goes deeper into our evolution as a black people and how the agenda has always been to break up the family or to take the power away from the black man. Because we dealt that's a real thing too. We're Christians, but that's a real thing. Even in some Christian communities, like, you know, there's weird stuff like that still happening. So if you think about the destruction of the black man, what does that do to the families and the generations on how a healthy marriage should look like? Or different things that, you know, the degradation of the black woman. All of those types of things, to where now you got generational mindsets. Now you have media dumping more trash down your throat and what you should be or how you should be. And then you also have just the constant attacks. You know what I mean? And I'm saying deeper because obviously the surface level things we got to deal with. But, you know, the black woman, why does she have to be this overachiever, highly educated woman? Like, why? Like, what led to that being a driving force, right? It's like, okay, we got to now be strong. Then it's like, okay, well, now we got to be equal, or we got to fight harder. And then, I mean, I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff in the pot.
I think it all comes back to my point. The reason I think you're seeing a rise in women, you know, being go-getters and career women and all that, is because they're coming from a lineage where their parents may have, their moms may have been hurt by a man. And it's like, you got to take care of yourself. Don't depend on anybody else. So you go and get it yourself. So it's still a result of men who aren't stepping up and being who they're supposed to be, which is a result of a bunch of other historical things we don't have to get into. But right now, the problem is, honestly, you go into a church, you'll see 10 women serving, and you may see 10 men, but 9 of them are married. So it's like, what options do they have? I don't know a lot of single guys right now. Do you? I got maybe 5 that I can recommend. But like, what do you? I know about 50 young ladies that are like, I'm ready. I'm waiting on a husband. So what are they supposed to do?
Do you think, this is gonna sound bad, do you think the fantasy of black love is something too? Whereas in the kingdom is like kingdom love.
So you're saying because they're not willing to date outside their races?
No. I'm just saying. Do you think like if somebody's like, if you say you go to your church, right, and let's say you got some women there that are single, and then you have some other people there that are single as well, but they're white, they're Hispanic, they're Indian, and they love the Lord, but they may be like, Sean, they're cool, but I really want a black dude. How would you? I don't see that. I'm just saying, like, but I've heard that before, so that's not like something I've never heard. But how would you say that for somebody for some women that's like, Sean, I want a black man that love the Lord?
But it all goes back to the list, right? There's that could be on your list. There could be height requirements, which is on most people I know's list. There's usually some sort of color requirement. There's usually some sort of like muscle mass requirement. There's usually some sort of bank account requirement.
Yeah.
So you have to wrestle with that on your own and make sure your list is reflective of what God actually wants for you versus what you want for you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's understandable that you would want something familiar to you. But yeah, you do have to be open beyond your race. There's some new challenges that come with that, but you do have to be open to that. I don't think that is the fix of their problem.
No. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that's the fix. I'm just saying that, that if you're saying let's say you go to a predominantly black church, then that wouldn't be your issue because you're like,
you don't see nobody
else. But I do ask that question because for black dudes, they like dating anybody. So that's
why is that? Why can't you can you name 10 black single guys that you would recommend? Not just black single guys, but like that you're like, oh, that's a good choice for you.
I know a lot of married people. So I'm like,
but that's been since I was 19.
Really?
It's not like it's just because I'm older. Name me 10.
I mean,
but
for me, I would say this: even when I was single, or I knew of single men, some of them wasn't like I wouldn't want to put no woman's heart in that situation.
People you would recommend.
Yeah, that would have been hard.
So why? Again, maybe it's our fault. Like this part of our mission is to mentor up strong young men.
But this has to be attractive to men. You know what I'm saying? Like this has to be attractive. The gospel for us was attractive because either we were raised, like we had people that sat us down and talked about the Bible and we was like, I want to learn more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or we had somebody witness to us and go, this is real. I want to live my life. My lifestyle is going to be around the love of Jesus and the word of God, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's not appealing to men out here, they may be like questioning it. You know what I mean? I'm sure right now we can go on our phones on IG and scroll and you're going to bump into a video where somebody go, y'all still believe the white man God? Like the white, you know what I mean? So you're still going to deal with those type of things. I was going to say something else too. Real quick, do you think another problem for some men is what if they think like some single men like, man, all these ladies really just love our pastor and they want somebody like our pastor?
No, that's Umar. Nobody thinks about that.
I mean, I'm just asking. Some people may.
Nobody thinks about that. That's so stupid. I hate what you just said because the fact that I got to think about what's going to be attractive to a guy, which usually means how do I get more money? How do I become successful? Yeah. I don't care if that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? If that's appealing to you, then kick rocks. Like, I shouldn't have to convince
But that's
you.
In the church, though. That type of man is it's everywhere. But in the black church, a lot of guys are on that.
Well, then go away. Like, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about guys who can look at Jesus and say, I want to be like him. Yeah. Where are they? I don't want to have to trick you into feeling that. Where are the guys that are like, I'm going to be like Jesus?
They may be in the background.
No matter what.
They may be like how we were in the background.
And young ladies, this is where it becomes your fault. There are a lot of young men who are sitting there like, what are y'all talking about? I'm right here.
Yeah. and y'all looking like, nah.
That's not what I asked for.
It's the agenda, man.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a huge agenda set. It's like to be a cool black at one point. Maybe we're coming out of it now, but to be a cool black guy, you know what I'm saying? At one point was you got to be a thug, a gangster.
Oh yeah,
because it was pushed.
Yeah.
But there's a lifestyle that comes with that. You know, once you stop pressing play on the record, like you got to live that out. And then I think that also became appealing to black women because it was just,
power,
confidence, all of that stuff. Yeah. And then now there's like this flow of hurt and pain because it's not the true design on how you should be loved and all that.
But here's the challenge is for the women who are hurt and in pain from those kind of dudes, what they want is for that dude to get saved. They don't want the guy who was already not that dude.
Yeah.
That's where you
They want him to be there and then be saved. So
I
like,
still want the edge.
I still want that.
I still want the same
Yeah.
kind of he might hurt me feel, but I want him to now be a servant of Jesus instead of the guy who's always been a servant of Jesus that's been sitting right next to you.
But they can say,
he's a good guy.
But they can
Like,
say the
like-
opposite of that, Sean. They
Yeah,
can say
that's
that
true.
for women.
Guys,
Some women be like, some guys that like us, they'll be like, I
been
want
sitting
you, but
here,
but y'all looking past the
Yeah.
10 o'clock. Y'all looking to the 10 o'clock girl.
The 10 o'clock girl.
Yeah, no,
Lady of the
it's,
night.
it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem both ways where, there's young ladies who've been faithful, serving
Yeah.
right next to you the whole time, and you like, but she don't look like this one.
Yeah. And that's the problem with guys. I would say problem with guys that are the nice, kind guys. Sometimes their idea of beauty is,
The fake stuff.
The fake stuff, yeah.
And you
They want to save City Girl.
Yeah, but you don't want, like, I'm going to just tell you, you don't actually want that. You
Yeah.
don't actually want the fake stuff. What you want is for somebody who to be genuinely beautiful. You don't want somebody who has to put it on to be beautiful. So you have to have some sort of imagination, because these young ladies who are being faithful, they are just as or better, more beautiful than these young ladies you're staring at. It's just that they have realized that is not who I want to be.
Yeah.
You should have some sort of imagination to realize that, just because somebody ain't wearing the tightest thing possible, they don't have a cake full of makeup,
Or cleavage.
like it showing you, like making it obvious. You can have people are just beautiful, period.
Yeah.
You should be able to recognize that without them having to be like, see.
But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
they're
our
still a
culture, our culture is not that, because I think people are not. Men are, of course, visual, but men also. If you go to a man, you say, "Yo, who the most beautiful woman in the world?" Majority of times, they're going to name somebody who is a revealing person. They're going to say somebody who's modest or cover. You know what I mean? So it's just based off what you see every day and honestly what you're lusting after. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, what are you watching that makes your perception of a woman to say that's beauty?
Yeah. All right, so let's give a good example, because we talk about a lot of negative and wrong examples on the show. Let's talk about a good example, I think, anyway.
I noticed you did not pop my balloon when I talked about God, so I wanted to ask you, what's your relationship like with Jesus Christ, if you don't mind sharing?
Yes, so my relationship with God is very, very important. I'm just still working to have a better relationship with Him. As an adult, I'm hoping to get rebaptized at the end of the year and find a church home on my own as an adult. Having God and Jesus Christ in the center of your marriage is very, very important. So I would say that I have a great relationship with God, and it's all about having a personal relationship and not just hooting and hollering in the pulpit every Sunday. It's Sunday through Sunday, your personal relationship with God. So that's why I did not pop your balloon. How do you define success?
I define success as doing what God wants you to do, because my role models are in the Bible, and a lot of them didn't have money. A lot of them forsook their families just to preach the gospel and follow the calling that God had on their life. My version of success is being in God's perfect will. So that's my version of success. It's not about how much money we have, although I make money and I provide, but just being the man that God created me to be. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that, I heard you say you were working on your relationship with God, so it's to continue working on it, working out that salvation with fear and trembling all the days of your life. We're not going to be perfect, but we can get as close to God as possible before we finally see Him on that last day.
Okay.
All right, so is it going to be a yes for you for her?
It's going to be an absolutely. Yeah.
And is it a yes for you for him?
Yes.
We got a match!
Oh, that's cute.
All right, so I when I saw that, I was like, okay.
You love that show.
My wife does. She really does. But when I got sent that clip, I was like, finally, this feels like a good example of what you should be looking for. The answers they both gave to me were like, you see a lot of bad examples on that show, but to hear what they said back and forth to each other, to me, was a green flag. Now, whether they're actually what they said they were or not, that's what you have to figure out in dating. That's
I've never heard of green flag.
The opposite of a red one. But the point is that just because they can say something like what both of them said doesn't mean they are who they say they are. That's what dating is for, is to figure out is this person legitly somebody who loves God? But to me, those are the best answers I've heard on that show from both sides so far.
Yeah.
On what to listen for when you're looking for a mate. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Man, I think that they both represent what you should be looking for, like you said. Like, you know, they said some things that obviously show that they have relationships with God. And I think they had a vibe, man. They had a synergy going. I could see the connection. I felt the connection off the screen. I was like, okay, I see how the Holy Spirit put that together.
Yeah.
Like, it was like you know what I'm saying? But like you said, like, obviously it's gonna take time to really see. And we, you know, again, we all fall short of the glory of God every day. So how you guys gonna work together on that? But it seemed like God the center right now. You know what I'm saying? For what they might be feeling like they want to do.
Yeah. What you
So I
think?
thought it was cool.
I thought it was dope. It was a nice little connection. So my heart is that hopefully he's living what he's saying and she's living what they're saying. That's the thing. Because if they're not, then they're gonna go back on that couch when she do the recap. And you're like, he wasn't a Christian, she wasn't a Christian. So you know what I mean? So, but prayer, Lord, yeah, man, it's just, man, it's so many single Christians, man.
So I'm trying to give examples. Cause we did one where it's like, this is what you don't want.
Yeah.
The one is to at least give you an example of what you do want to see when you have these conversations.
Yeah.
Again, somebody could fake this.
Yeah.
If somebody knows the lingo, they can sound like this guy.
Yeah.
If they know the lingo, they can sound like her. But you at least need to hear this before you continue on.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But you know what's so funny, and I respect this. Some of those balloons. I remember also somebody like, yeah, Jesus. The guy was like, yeah, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. The balloons like, pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that would hurt me. But I mean, I think, man, we're in a time where people are honest about their faith and where they are spiritually. They, you know what I mean? They be like, man, that's not me. I'm a witch. I seen lady said I'm in New Age. I'm in this. I don't believe in God. I'm a goddess and all this other stuff. So I respect that to be honest. Versus you lying and then all of a sudden we dating and all of a sudden I'm at night hearing you
Spirit cook.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. You guys let me know if you agree that it was a good sign. Some people may say, oh, she said she wasn't in church yet, and so it's not really what represents me. I'm deeper in than she is, or whatever, or I'm deeper in than he is. But I would just say at least this should be the minimum of what to expect to hear from somebody who is a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what you should be listening for. It's like you should be able to recognize somebody who loves your Father. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Do y'all think a dating service like a speed dating thing is good for Christians?
Well, my wife is working on a dating show. I'll give her a shout out. She's been working on it for a while. So if y'all see something pop up soon
on Trackstarz,
I don't know. She's really serious about it. But yeah, I do think there should be some, like, people need help, man. They're out here just wandering, like what do I do, God? What do I do, God? Like I do think there should be people to say, okay, what can I help you with? You know, like this is what I would do if I were you. I think a lot of single people feel lost. Like, what am I supposed to be doing?
So do you think a lot of single people are honest? Like honest of where they are and honest of
I think so.
Are you ready for a relationship? Because you can have all the stuff in the world and you need to be healed before you get in a relationship.
I think most of the people we know are ready.
Gotcha.
They're where they're supposed to be.
Gotcha. Do you feel bad for people who say, Sean, he ain't a Christian, but he treat me right?
I don't hear a lot of that. Honestly, what I honestly hear day to day is I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm being patient. I'm not bitter. I'm not a feminist. I'm not none of that stuff. It's just there's either nobody available or I've tried and the guys turned out not to be for me.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Because I think that what's being screamed silently is I don't want to be single forever, but it feels like that's coming my direction, or it's going to come too late for me to have a family or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
What do I do?
Do you guys think that people are not believing in marriage anymore? Like, do you think that could be somewhat of an effect?
I think there are guys that don't believe in marriage anymore. I think there's tons of young ladies who do, and they're ready and they're waiting.
There's a lot of
Some
dudes
guys that are just
believe in
like, I'm
polygamy,
out here, whatever.
unfortunately.
I'm out here doing whatever. I'll get there when I get there type attitude. Or they're just not there. It's literally, or you walk into a room, like we talked about singles conferences and meetups. You said Russelin was here last week, and she was like, it was 100 women and 6 dudes?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do with that?
Yeah. I guess it's good for the dudes, unfortunately. That's sad to say, but if you a man, you got a plethora to choose from.
Yeah.
If you really trying to find a wife, you know what I mean?
So speaking of dudes, there was a conversation on Nick Cannon's, what's it called? Council Culture is the name of the show? I can't remember.
Yeah.
This clip was kind of like, I don't know, it's like hidden footage or somebody with like a camcorder in the background. It's not like their show, but I thought the conversation was
they
good.
tipping off their television.
Yeah, I don't know what. But anyway, let's see what they had to say.
I've been the nice guy, and it didn't work. And I stopped the bad boy, and it didn't work. Right. But of the two, the bad boy always works a little more. So are women attracted to toxicity? Young women.
Because you gravitate toward what smells familiar, and if you come from a household where machismo and all that is around you, you unconsciously feel safe in that.
Yeah. And that's but then you learn from peers too, because you watch your boys, you go, man, he's that. So I think I'm gonna do that, because high school happened to me. I was the nice guy. Man, I was like, get her flowers. My mother's like, that's good. I did all that, and I got doodled on. And I was like, that will never happen to me again. Man, we gotta I think that's happened to all. That might be the origin story of our toxic I was the poem writing, flowers in the locker.
To me or not to me.
And then when I saw her go for the bad boy, I was like, these flowers. And it worked, right? And I was like, I will never be heartbroken again. I never want to feel that. And it hurts. And you know, man, we can't take that. Right? Yeah. I'm glad I thank you for that, because I think we just
This clip reminded me of that clip we found with Tupac. I think it was in that documentary where he, Tupac was like a dancer, a theater kid type person, right? And he was they were interviewing up against a locker, and they were
18 years old.
Yeah, he was like, there was this young lady I liked, but she was going for this bad boy, so I was like, I'm gonna be the bad. Like it was the sentiment was, I'm gonna be the bad boy because the bad boy seemed to be winning.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the reason why guys are kind of start to trend to be not the right guy, because when you are the good guy, you see so many bad guys get chosen over you that you see them as the goal. You have to be that bad guy. So by the time when women are over the bad guy and they want the good guy, all the good guys have become bad guys.
Or married.
Or they got snatched up early. So what do you think about what they realized on the show?
I think that, and let me make sure I'm saying this properly. I think that the good guy has been depicted to always be weak. And we know that women want men to be protectors and strong. And lead. And the illusion is that the bad guy has the strength, power, and control. So who's going to protect me better? Who's going to be there for me better? Who can I maybe submit to, right? And then now you have to play that out in real time. You know what I'm saying? So now you got the bad guy, and this is the guy going to be in it for the long run.
What's the ironic thing is, you want protection. You think the bad guy is going to protect you, but the bad guy puts you in more dangerous situations than you would have been in without him.
Yeah.
When the true strength is the self-control to not be the bad guy in the first place.
Exactly.
That's the true strength. Now, there are some guys that do suffer from, lack of self-confidence, and they are weak as far as their confidence in themselves are weak. But a lot of that stems from just the data that they see in the world where I don't win, they win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it either causes, I felt this way. It causes you to either emulate what the guys that are winning do, or it causes you to go inward and feel even smaller than you would have been. So that's not the young lady's fault necessarily, but it's a reality that guys are watching They when you start becoming interested in girls, you're looking to see what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, early on, being the good guy does not seem to work.
But I think it takes the maturity for the women to say, like, I don't want no dude that's gonna put me in harm's way. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no dude. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think there's mature women that, like the lady said in the screen, she was like, that's young women. That's young women.
But unfortunately, you developed your character young.
Yeah.
So a guy watching that is going to develop his worldview at that age, and it's going to dictate the way he's going to live the rest of his life.
But I think there is, and it goes back to our previous conversation. It goes back to that, like, but there's some women out there. I think what it is I'll be honest with you. I think the good guys just want the bad girls, but the bad girls want, or not the bad girls, but like the bad girls or the curiosity girls are like, oh, I wonder how that is to mess with him. You know what I mean? Versus somebody like somebody that you walk to school with every day, and that's your girlfriend or that's your friend, and y'all know each other, and she like, oh, that's just like my brother. You know what I mean?
I think it goes both ways. There are young ladies who always had eyes for the good guy. There are some guys who always had eyes for the good girl.
Yeah.
I think, but just overall, what I guess anecdotally, I don't know if this is true, but anecdotally, it seems like most of the time the women went for the bad guy. I don't know if most of the time guys went for the bad girl. I don't know if that's and young ladies, you correct me. I don't know if that's what you're seeing. Is that what you guys are noticing at high school, college age, that most guys are going for the bad girl and you're being overlooked?
Do you think it's a complex of trying to get something that you can't really truly have?
That's good. That's good.
Is it from the guy's side?
Both sides, like for real. And because for the girl to the guy, like, because some women think of like certain guys as projects. I can make him good, or I can love the pain out of him. You know what I'm saying? So with the girls to the guys, it might be some of that, and maybe with the guys to certain girls, it's like she's the fantasy girl, or she's the girl that you might have been lusting over.
Is the fantasy based on her being bad or good, or just looks?
Well, maybe there's an edge to what she brings.
Yeah.
So she
excitement
becomes more
maybe.
Appealing.
Excitement, yeah.
Versus
But,
some, what I'm saying?
yeah.
Maybe that's it too. But
Yeah.
I think that also I think ultimately it does depend on knowing yourself and maturing.
Yeah.
Because you do get to a place where it's like, oh, I already know what that's gonna come with.
Yeah.
Or I already know what this is gonna come with.
But I think I would say that's the reason why you can't hold grudges, men, because that mentality is I'm gonna say it's an immature mentality, because it's like, I'm gonna go bad because they want bad, and it's like, no, you don't have to go bad because they
It's
want
an
bad.
immature mentality.
It's you as a man could go, well, they want that, then I'm gonna find a woman that want me. You know what I mean? Like that want me for me. And I think right now, even like I think about like different things that people like, or different things like years ago, people used to probably like clown the person if they like anime, right? Now, if you go to Comic-Con, there's women there that like the nerdy guy.
There's somebody for everybody.
Yeah. So I think and maybe because Nick Cannon, Neo, Godfrey are older like us, whereas like back in the day, if you were the nice guy, you got like clown, and that just hurt you, and then that you kept seeing it for years. But I just think now is that, to me, that story's not an excuse now, because there's somebody that likes something that you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Maybe it's a trauma response too.
Yeah, that could
Maybe
be.
that is,
Yeah.
I remember being young, having conversations with friends or whatever, and like if you were hurt, even myself, when you're hurt, it's like now you want to just put the dark cloak on and just let your pain out any your way.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's before you mature, understand who you are. But there's even grown people that when they break up or they have a bad situation and they're hurt, like they're gonna go from that relationship and then just date a multitude of people just to get it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I would say some guys take the I'm gonna copy the bad guy route.
Yeah.
But other guys, go inward and become more quiet and become more to themselves and become
Socially
more
awkward,
probably
yeah.
lame or whatever to you, right? And I just want to point that out because there's a lot of guys that you may be writing off because they're not flashy and confident and walk in a room and control it because they may have been hurt from something back in the day.
Yeah.
So I would just say there's still value in those guys. They have to overcome that and they have to work that out and regain their confidence. But I wouldn't I wouldn't say throw away the guy who followed the bad guy model.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw out the quiet guy either. You know?
I want to say something. Wrestling said, at the end of the day, women just want to be loved. Sometimes good guys ain't showing up to love women.
But that goes back to the confidence thing. What you may be seeing is the result of a wound from when they were younger where they realized I'm not the kind of guy who would deserve or receive the attention from that kind of girl.
Yeah.
So they go inward and now they don't have confidence to say, oh, this is a pretty young lady. I'm going to go talk to her because I see value in her. I see God in her and I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and approach her and be willing to be rejected.
Yeah.
They've lost that confidence.
Oh, yeah, rejection is a big
You know
thing for that guy. That guy, and I know that guy for a fact.
Yeah.
That rejection
is not worth it.
Yeah, that rejection got him duct taped in his room.
Yeah. So just so you understand the mentality of some men go extremely bad guys. Some men go extremely the opposite direction. And the lack of confidence and the lack of stepping up and the lack of I just want somebody to love me feeling you may be seeing is probably a result of a wound that they need to. I'm not saying you don't fix that. They need to fix that. But that's what you're seeing, I believe, from a lot of the guys. So, all right, let's stick with Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon has another show, and Lecrae and Kirk Franklin were on it. And this brings up something that is, I think, near and dear to our hearts because this is a topic we've discussed a lot.
So I went to church, and it was a DJ there, right, which was really dope. I think that's really cool. But he was playing gospel, and then he played some cut by Trillville.
He just played the beat.
He played the beat. But this is what I'm saying. Yeah. What it is. Hey?
No.
Where was we going?
But you see what just happened right there? It got tricky. That's what I'm saying. It got tricky because I was like trying to say I never would have made it, but then it was like, what it is. So now I'm twerking in church. And that's crazy.
That's crazy work.
That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy work.
You know, I like choirs. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on choirs and the
Do you miss choirs?
I do. Like,
but we got Sunday service. You perform with Will Smith
miss
Sunday service.
Choir. But when you go to church, there are it's like a praise
like
team.
praise teams. I like
but
choir.
every church is adapting that style. Yeah. And it can be frustrating for me because I miss.
It was community.
That's crazy.
I don't like praise.
I want to hear whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you what's funny though, Craig.
Alto,
You
soprano,
sound like the OGs who be like, all this mumble rap.
Well, no. Hold on. But let me tell you why I would have to humbly differ.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have one of the most prolific artists at the time, Kanye.
Yeah.
When he wanted to start doing gospel music, he didn't use a praise team. He used a choir.
He did.
I think that choirs reflect a sonic that gives you an unapologetic gospel. That's what I think they're saying. So yeah. And I do think that sometimes the European movement of worship has sometimes robbed us of that black experience. It's robbed us of this.
Yes.
No, Kirk, you talking now. You talking now.
that.
And then they be having all that wordy stuff. I mean, they be up in there like, your presence is able to capture my glory and sky and the moon and the stars. I just want to hear.
He's able.
He's able.
Yeah.
Give me 2 words. I've seen that. Now you got to have a PowerPoint with paragraphs to sing these gospel songs.
Diamond.
I can respect that.
Diamond.
You get what I'm saying?
I can respect that.
I think it's kind of tough, and I appreciate you at least noticing what's happening because there is
very
this
much.
transition that us old school down south folks really want to see, and it's hard to.
All right. So what do you think about that? This is a conversation we've had a lot about, for the first part of her conversation where it's like playing secular instrumentals and playing like, even the critiques on line for line. When we used to do destinations and we would play, the DJ would play. I wonder if they're talking about somebody we know, but the DJ would play.
I heard that blended before though. What you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, the DJ would play, mainstream instrumentals during the show. Is it a distraction? Is it detrimental to the witness when Christians mix world with God?
I think a lot of it can be subjective and where you are in your walk. What I start to see in the black church is that the music sometimes can be an entertainment piece to go into service, and it's what you prefer, what you like, what used to resonate maybe when you were growing up.
Yeah.
What you kind of created your preference to be on the music you associate with your faith.
Yeah.
And I think that we should be invited into all of it. If you have your preference, have the preference, but don't knock the other styles of worship that people are using to honor the same God that you praise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm one of my praise team leaders at church, so I understand the tug between like the old school and this new stuff, the new Christian contemporary, and how people might respond to it, and they might want songs that they want to listen to and hear all the time, and I have to choose songs according to that, but I like to make sure it's a blend of songs that matter to me, to my subjective view, songs that I can resonate with and be able to allow the Holy Spirit to use me to minister that song.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be a song you might like too, but I'll bring a new song to service all the time. I'll do that. And it might not be what you're familiar with, but if the Spirit and the power is in delivering that song and worshiping, then regardless of what you think, you should be able to at least respect it.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna get in trouble. My brothers, my turntable brother's gonna be mad at me. Man. Okay. I got in the Christian gospel, I got into the Christian rap gospel, urban gospel space. I knew about it in the 90s. I heard some records, and then I got into it like the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. And I came in a time when, DJs was blending instrumentals, mainstream instrumentals under Christian rap, Christian R&B, urban gospel type records, which at the time I was like, oh, this is amazing. I just think, and I think that's the fight that I've had recently. And I won't be a hypocrite because I'm be a hypocrite. So shout out to DJ B Plus, because I told him recently, I was like, hey, man, you should blend this and this and that together. So, but sometimes I feel like it's old, and not old like, I think this is my dilemma. I'll say this, and me and my wife go back and forth all the time. This is my dilemma about this. As a DJ, sometimes I feel like our stuff is good. Like, why do we need their stuff? You know what I mean? And I think sometimes what the problem is people don't know the songs. And as a DJ and performing places, and you're mixing and you're doing a live mix, and you're coming into songs, you're coming out of songs, whatever, you don't get the crowd. The crowd don't know the songs. They're going to look at you like, but if you put on, like she was talking about, people going to be like, oh.
It gets their attention.
Yeah. And I don't know the answer to it. In my heart of hearts, the answer is to get a radio station and get radio stations and to play the music so people can get used to the music, because it can be a distraction, to be honest with you.
Is it just that particular song is just so distracting because it's bed noises? It's
no,
sexual?
I'm just thinking about anything. I mean, if you in your 90s, in the 90s growing up, you love Bad Boy, but let's say the Lord saved you and you decide like, all right, I ain't listening to nothing else. I'm listening to gospel music. I'm just listening to that. That's if I'm at a function, I'm DJing, and I blend, some Kirk with some 90s Bad Boy stuff.
It's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah, I'll blend Revolution and Benjamins together. You gonna turn around and go, oh snap. You know what I mean? That's the dilemma for some people.
Does it bring you back?
Yeah,
to
some people bring it. Those instrumentals bring people back to that time.
I guess my question is, do people feel the same way if, like, let's say you blended like outstanding? You know what I mean? Like
outstanding, yeah, like that.
The older, like it feels like as long as it's from my childhood, it's okay.
So
I don't even think that. I think some people, like, we got people in the comments now like, yo, don't blend the secular with the sacred. You know what I mean?
The secular with the sacred.
Yeah, like
that's
you don't blend that together. We're in church. Why are we hearing in church? Why are we hearing, Doodoo Brown or
yeah, like
why are we hearing Percolator in church?
But you're mentioning things that are very sexual. Is it? Do people have the most problem?
Those are the best
sexual
BPMs.
Okay.
Those are the best BPMs.
You're giving it away.
Those BPMs match very well with some stuff.
Well, let me ask you guys a quick question that popped in my head, and tell me your honest answers, and then I'll go for there.
Yeah.
What makes a song Christian or faith based? Like, what makes it that?
The lyrics.
Content.
All right, bam, stop right there. So it's the message in the songs that make them what they are. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate that some of these songs might get mixed and they have a sexual connotation.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. That's why I think, you got to just be mindful. But there's no Christian sound outside of like gospel.
I agree with that.
Right?
I agree with that.
Because even CCM is like soft rock.
Yeah, it is.
In a sense.
It's the Joshua Tree by U2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
gospel is something else too.
Yeah. So and yeah,
blues
thanks for correcting me for that. So there's no Christian sound, but it's just important that you just be mindful of that message, because that's what's going to really change or inspire or sow the seed. And I'm talking from experience and learning how to do that, because if you listen to Christian hip hop in itself, you take the lyrics off and put some other lyrics there, now it's secular.
Yeah.
You change a few words up, it could become something else.
I think the problem is that in the memory of the person listening to it, it doesn't matter what new lyrics you put on it. Mm-hmm. They remember the old lyrics immediately.
So for them, it's like,
it could be distracting to them if they're doing what she did and you're trying to get them to worship God, but they're hearing, something sexual or something else.
I have two problems with that, though. The first, one problem is you're right that your mind goes back to the original thing. My only problem with that is sometimes people would use that to go against progression of sounds of saying, "Oh, that's worldly." You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though you created this beat in your to give God glory, you made a trap beat because you heard a beat and you said the Lord gave you a song where it's talking about chanting like Jesus is King, He's King, boom. And you were doing it, and the Lord gave you that song.
Y'all make that.
Yeah, well, Jesus is King. But you put a trap beat under it, kind of like a Todd Tribbett did, or like
Mary
Mary, or like Brandon P. He got a trap worship album, and it's like original music. It's not like you just saying like I want to get the young kids in my church because they looking
think
at
the style of music is evil.
Yeah. Because Kenton Jones talked about that recently with Wado, and then he even talked about us when we went to a dinner with him, and he was talking about how like the hip hop generation ain't coming to church because they don't see themselves in the church or they don't hear themselves in the church. So it's like, how do you reach people? Because don't be blinded to for the people out there saying the secular and sacred. Because the problem I have with old girl is, she's saying that, but she's still ratchet. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? You're saying like you love traditional gospel, but you're still living a horrible lifestyle. I'm not saying about her. I don't know. I'm not saying her, but I'm just saying people that's like her is like, I go to the club on Saturday, but then I'm being in church.
That's the point I was going to make. A lot of this hand wringing is more based on tradition than it is based on God, Yeah. A lot of it is gospel music should sound like this and this alone, when it's like, no, it shouldn't. Like, who cares? But the reason why some people get nervous, some of the older saints get nervous when you make the trap version of that gospel song, is because it's just the instruments are not evil.
Yeah.
But the reason you made it like that was because you love music like that. And you got inspired by music like that. So it makes me question, why are you bringing that over here?
Well, if I'm saying to y'all, I'm in youth ministry and we doing old school, because let's be calm, the music that you like traditional is quartet.
Yeah, it's based on something else.
Yeah, it's based on old school kind of blues type music. So you like that, but my kids is like, if y'all don't stop this old school crap, what do you?
There's a fallacy that gospel is inherently pure. A choir is inherently pure. No, it's just a style.
Yeah,
it's a style. So, and that style is based on things that used to happen before.
Yeah.
It's not wholly originally Christian. Like it's
Yeah.
borrowed from other styles.
Yeah.
So that's wrong, right? But I think what I just said is what people are actually worried about. That's a signal to me that you listen to trap music and you're trying to bring your influence into our sacred space. It makes me nervous.
No, but it makes people. But then even with that, it's like people can't be themselves or kind of like what they like, right? Like, because now I'm a Christian, do I not wear jeans anymore? Do I only wear slacks all the time? Like, no, like I used to like wearing jeans. Like, God kind of allowed me to experience some things to kind of, create my likes and dislikes and styles. Like we get to choose the food we eat and things like that. It's really your diet, everything that's about you. So if you had a diet that was based in R&B and then God changed your life, but you still love R&B, there's a way to still get that, because that's what you like.
Think about how alarmed that is. I'm trying to shoot them some bail, right? Imagine these are older people. They saw you grow up.
Yeah.
Right? They saw you grow up. You were in church. We brought you around. We taught you to, this is what church is.
Yeah.
They saw you stray away from the church into a genre of music that was evil in their eyes. It was, everybody in it was talking about evil things.
Yeah.
You say you left that, but you're bringing your influence from that back to the church and trying to sell it back to us. The hesitation is, why are you taking anything back with you?
So my question to them would be, what do you want me to do?
Come back home and sing this bluesy gospel like we taught you.
And that church may have not a lot of people in it. People don't want to come to it. People, and I'm not saying, I'm talking about, do we care more about our traditions than a generation? That's the question we got to ask. Because if you care about a generation, then you got to say, okay, this generation loves Afrobeats. This generation loves Afrobeat style music. This generation loves, pop music, EDM music. What do they love that is appealing to them, so we can reach them?
Why is it appealing to them, Jeremiah? It's because they lusting. They just lusty and they just want to gyrate.
But no, it's not. It's just it's you. God gives everybody their own flavor of what they like.
That's what I'm saying.
You get what I'm saying? Like, he's not. We're not all like. There's some black people that love pop music. I like pop, old school pop, some new rock music, or country music, or whatever. Doesn't mean that they're an evil person. It's just their preference. And you know what I mean? And then sometimes your preference is like if you come to church, it's like I have to be my total. I can't be myself at church because the older saints just saying, "Sit down, boy, and listen to this." And it's like, Mama, Grandma,
you don't like this? You don't like this?
Grandma, I love Shirley Caesar, but this is old school blues music. What are you talking about?
Not me. And you like it because your generation before you liked blues, and they brought that into the church.
Yeah.
So I do respect the concern, because it is a little bit concerning if you see your child or somebody else's child go through this dark valley and then they brought souvenirs with them. You'd be like, why'd you bring anything with you back? Just go back to what you came from.
But I think my problem with this is this, and this is why the Christian hip hop was always have those fights. You had the G. Craig Lewis, which is funny now because he has rappers at his church, but that's another story. But then you had those different things that was blocking these things, but people's lives were a mess. You know what I mean? Like you would rather have people go traditional and not be free and live a life of like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying everybody, but I'm just saying sometimes what I realized for us, the genres that we were representing of Christian hip hop or Christian R&B or whatever, the blocking is always young people with traditional mindsets. But then when you go and see their posts and stuff, it's total opposite. It's like I grew up in church, so I know the church thing. But it's I don't live this.
Yeah, you code switch for the sake of that community, and then when you're done, you go back to you being you in a sense. I think that if we could look at anything that was deemed secular or evil, and we are trying to change it for the good, I think that should be celebrated for the mere fact that you took this beat that had this message, and you're actually saying, you know what, we're gonna put never would have made it on here, because that's what we live in today. And guess what? You're gonna hear this beat and you're gonna feel this way, but guess what? Your message we're gonna take you on another ride. Like, think about even like merch, right? Like hoodies, hats, certain jeans, like Christian merch. Like some of those pieces, like they didn't originate in the church. Like that was from like hip hop culture or whatever our culture is secularly. But now we have the opportunity to say, you know, John 3:16 or, you know, live your life different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, I think it's just the messaging.
Yeah, I would just say the only caution to the thing that's screaming at me is what I notice is a lot of people who feel that way about music that's more recent, either what your kids listen to or music you had when you were younger. They don't have the same reaction to sexual healing and
Luther Vandross,
and you know what I mean, like stuff that when they were a kid is like it's cool.
Motown.
Like you go to church functions and they won't play like the stuff that we feel is evil now. But they'll play the stuff that was evil back then, like no problem. It's the same evil mindset.
Yeah.
It may be more obvious now.
Yeah.
But it's the same
intent, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's true, because I mean, if you think about like September, it's the meaning behind that is not good. I remember one of the guys from Earth, Wind & Fire was like, I don't know why people that's their marriage song. Like that song is horrible. He said it. He wrote it. So I think that's one of those things where it's like, I think we're just biased to what you like.
Everybody's biased to it. So again, my suggestion is always question your own biases. Like if you notice the speck in somebody else's eye, just know that there's probably a plank you're looking through. Right. So always, whenever I notice, like, I don't like when so and so does that. Do I do that? Like I just always reflect back, because you may be calling something evil. Those people are evil, and you got. You know, you watch Godfather every Christmas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's stuff that you do is evil as well.
You got Scarface Saturdays.
But here's the solution, because that's always used as an excuse that I'm gonna keep doing my dirt, you gonna keep doing your dirt. No, the solution is let's figure out. Let me clean up what I need to clean up. You also clean up what you need to clean up. Both of us should be getting closer to God, not just using our own baggage as excuses. Like that, I don't like that. So I'm always listening. Like maybe she has a point. Maybe.
No, she has a real point. She has a real heart point. And to be honest with you, that's a real thing. Like, yo, you know, I grew up in a church, and I don't want to hear, you know, trap, or I don't want to hear Lil Jon and under worship music. That's not my thing. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
But my problem is, don't say that, but then you leave the church and you go with your friends, and you and your friends turning up at brunch. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's compartmentalizing.
Yeah. I would say don't exactly what Jeremiah said, but also don't use that as an excuse to where what I end up seeing is everybody's just like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And everybody continues to live exactly the same.
Yeah.
You should be always striving to, like, I'm listening to you. I hear you. I'm going to evaluate that in my heart. I'm not just dismissing everything you have to say. I'm not always assuming I'm the one that's right about this. Take it in, absorb it, both sides. All right.
Don't take my car, DJs. I still hear dope blends here and there, but at the same time, I do feel like sometimes I feel like Christian music is getting so good. In my personal opinion, this is just Jeremiah speaking. My personal opinion. If you feel like you still need to blend and do your thing, that's you. I'm not knocking you at all. I just always want to see what's next. That's how I see it. As a visionary. You're like, yo, what's next? What's next? What's next? So, but in my mind, I'm like, God, our music is so good. We don't need stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't need stuff to try to enhance
to help it.
Yeah.
Because you're basically tapping into an evil part of their heart to get their attention.
Yeah.
Then they're always going to be looking for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If that's what you got them with,
that's
what you're going to have to keep them with. And that's where it could get dangerous.